I'm really happy that we actually had this guy. Hello and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about the Blue Jays. I am your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And today we're going to do another player breakdown. It's been a minute. It's been a while since we've done it. We kind of started it a lot before last season, breaking them down before we got into last season, and then they kind of tapered off because, the season was happening. But we are now in the thick of the off season, in the barren tundra wasteland of nothingness that is right now. So we're going to break down Rafael Dolis. But before we get into that, guys, make sure to hit the comment button, or hit the notification button, I should rather say. Subscribe, comment down below, do the whole shebang, and become a Patreon member.
Absolutely. We have three or four. It keeps bouncing back and forth. I think one person's trying to fix a credit card thing, but yeah.
Or they're like, they're happy with a video and then they're not happy with the video, and they can't really decide whether or not we've earned it or not.
They're just like, oh, it's the credit card.
Yeah, exactly. But for those of you who are members, thank you once again. So let's get into Dolis. He was a bullpen arm for us last year. The guy pitched for 24 innings, had 31 strikeouts during those 24 innings. Very, very good, and had a great ERA of 1.5. What do you think about Dolis?
Dolis, I like Dolis. Look, he's 32 years old, and we picked up his option going into 2021, and the option was dirt cheap. It was $1.5 million, and this guy,
I picked that up too.
Yeah, I'd pick that up every day. And this guy, going into the end of the season, became our clear closer after Romano went down with an injury. It became him. He was the next in line, and he didn't disappoint. Technically, he led the team in saves with 5, where Romano had 4. So I'm really happy that we actually had this guy. He actually didn't even, you were saying before, it's like where'd this guy come from? It's was this his first year? Well, actually, he played for the Cubs many years ago. I think
2011, 2012, 2013, I think it was.
Yeah, for that time, and he actually, this is when he first entered the league. He wasn't that good to begin his career.
No, he wasn't.
He only carried a 5.48 ERA over 44 innings pitched through that time, and then he decided to continue his career over in Japan and other leagues. So where he really did find himself in those leagues.
In Japan?
Yeah,
man. I don't actually have the his stats for Japan, but I know that he did very, very well.
They're good.
And
it's very well.
It translates to him doing as well as he did last year for us in the actual MLB.
Yeah. His entire career overseas was a 2.44 ERA over 265 innings pitched. So, yeah, clearly, he established himself, he figured himself out overseas, came back here, and, short sample size with 24 innings pitched, but clearly a good option going into 2021.
Yeah,
for,
and I mean,
for the price.
It's not, you often... Well, I don't want to say often, but it always doesn't translate. And we saw that with Yamaguchi, who was killing it overseas, and then came into MLB and just couldn't seem to find this stuff. He'd be great for an inning and then blow up the next. And Dolis was solid for us the whole time. I don't really remember any blow up innings for him. Obviously he stayed healthy, which we can't say about some of our other guys, and that is important. And I think that Dolis, coming into the year with a 1.5 ERA, well below league average from any standpoint, this guy is going to be really good for us, and I'm kind of hoping that he steps into that solid closing role.
And I will ask you, do you think it's that's going to be his job right away, or what do you think it's going to be like come spring training?
I don't know. I actually have no idea, because we have a lot of guys who I think could fill in that role. I was really happy with him. I thought that he did a great job. I felt like he was calm under pressure. And when you look at his numbers, a great exit velo, a really nice expected batting average, really nice expected slug, everything across the board is great. And these numbers to me speak to the fact that he can close out a game. Whether he's going to be the 7th inning guy, the 8th inning guy, or the 9th inning guy, that's yet to be seen. I'm kind of hoping Well, I mean, I'm kind of hoping that he's the ninth inning guy because then, give him some saves and whatever. But
my prediction is that I think Montoya is going to come into the season with an open mind like he does every single year, for the last 2 years at least. I think it's definitely going to be a competition between Dolis, Romano, and Bass for that job. It all depends on what they're looking like in spring training, whether there's been some improvements, who's been dominating in spring training. But I think it's going to be very similar to this year, where once Ken Giles went down, it was kind of like you have three men kind of rotating depending on whether they need rest, whether it's like, oh, Dolis just closed the last 2 games, let's get Romano to close the next 2 games. And I feel like that's going to be the kind of method for him as he's established that is what he does. Until someone clearly steps out from the pack and dominates, like I always think back in 2015 when Roberto Osuna like commanded that closing job, because we didn't have a closer coming into 2015, but he commanded it because he was just unreal. So I think the same idea might be coming here for us in 2021.
I think that's probably pretty true. It's kind of like a closers by committee, like a running back by committee in football, basically. But and if that's working for us, like if Romano is doing as well as he was doing, and Bass is doing as well as he was doing, and Dolis is doing as well as he did, then I don't see any reason to change something that's not broken. And if these are the type of numbers that Dolis produces after this year, he's going to be an interesting guy, like a question mark as far as, do we sign this guy back? How much money is he going to be worth? And everything like that. He'll be 33 when it's time to make that happen. Obviously, way down the line, like jumping too early to this. But if he puts up numbers like this again, I definitely want him on the team.
Absolutely. Like, he will lock down that bullpen. And in a way, he's a veteran. He's a veteran guy in the bullpen. Like, he's only pitched 4 MLB seasons, but he's pitched 8 foreign league seasons. So technically, that was his 12th year of professional baseball. So I think I could rely, and you saw you even said yourself, like, he was calm. He was calm under pressure because he's done it before.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around the block. He's not a rook anymore. And even though he's newer to this league or, hasn't had as much experience as some other guys, he looked comfortable on the mound, and I'm really hoping that these numbers translate to a very successful 2021 season for Dolis.
Absolutely. I totally agree, and I can't wait. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Dolis is going to be a closer in our bullpen? What do you think his role is going to be coming into 2021? Let us know in the comments down below.
And guys, make sure to check us out on Spotify, Breaker, Anchor, Radio Public, and Google Podcasts. Also, you can check us out on Instagram. That's always popping off. Subscribe to this channel, and Twitter and Patreon for sure.
Patreon, guys. $3 a month. $3 a month, and you get to say, you get to tell us what to say, which actually, in our next video, or no, it would be the video before. I think I'm going to put this one up on Wednesday.
Okay.
So if you guys saw in our last podcast, the Patreon question that we answered was by one of our newest Patreon members. So be sure to $3 a month, and then you could pay us, and then we can keep going and then keep making videos.
Great. Thanks for that, Adam.
that was my sales pitch.
Good stuff, buddy. Good stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching.
And go Jays go.